O my Lord Sri Krishna, son of Vasudeva, O all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I meditate upon Lord Sri Krishna because he is the absolute truth and the primeval cause of all causes of the creation, sustenance, and destruction of the manifested universes. He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations, and he is independent because there is no other cause beyond him. It is he only who first imparted the Vedic knowledge upon the heart of Brahmaji, the original living being. By him, even the great sages and demigods are placed into illusion, as one is bewildered by the illusionary representations of water seen in fire or land seen on water. Only because of him do the material universes, temporarily manifested by the reactions of the three modes of nature, appear factual, although they are unreal. I therefore meditate upon him, Lord Sri Krishna, who is eternally existence in the transcendental abode, which is forever free from the illusionary representations of the material world. I meditate upon him, for he is the absolute truth.
Thank you. So you see, in Bhagavad Gita, we have gone through Bhagavad Gita level 2, and then all that is said here, we have already come to know that this is true. And in the Srimad Bhagavatam, this is the first verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam. When you start the Srimad Bhagavatam, straight away they tell you Sri Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. And all his qualities are mentioned here, as you can see, and also that he is the creator of the world, and also Lord Sri Krishna, who is eternally existent in the transcendental abode, which we are trying to go to now, which is always free from illusory representations of the material world. I meditate upon him, for he is the absolute truth. Immediately Krishna is told to be the Supreme Lord. No questions asked about it. Okay, who would like to read number 2?
Prabhu, I can read, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Text 2. Completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated, this Bhagavata Purana propounds the highest truth, which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in heart. The highest truth is reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. Such true uproots the threefold miseries. This beautiful Bhagavatam, compiled by the great sage Vyasadeva in his maturity, is sufficient in itself for God realization. What is the need of any other scripture? As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Bhagavatam, by this culture of knowledge, the Supreme Lord is established within his heart. Thank you, Prabhu.
You know, in my experience, when I became a life member in Singapore, they gave me a full set of Bhagavatam. I had read the Bhagavad Gita, but when the Bhagavatam came in, so then I was totally surprised because I didn't know they will give you a full set of Bhagavatam. So now it's already there. So might as well start reading. And then I started reading. And because I started reading, I suddenly got convinced that Krishna is the Supreme, and I started being interested in spiritual life fully. So in this way, this Bhagavatam is not materially motivated. It rejects all materially motivated scriptures. Scriptures that promise you have material wealth, promise you heavenly heavenly pleasures after death, that is all materially motivated. So this Bhagavatam is not as what Bhagavatam is actually very pure. Okay, okay, let's go. Okay, who would like to read 2.4? Who hasn't read yet? Shangari, you would like to read?
Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisance unto the personality of Godhead, Narayana, unto Nara Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author.
Thank you. This is a very important verse. Before, if you go to any Bhagavatam class, sometimes the speaker will chant this verse 2.4, and the other verse that he will chant is 2.18 before even reading the Bhagavatam. Let's see what 2.18 does. Shangari, can you read this also?
By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact.
Yeah. So if you read the Bhagavatam regularly, and you render service to pure devotees and to devotees, whatever is in your heart troublesome will actually become totally destroyed, and you will get loving service. So Bhagavatam is actually very pure. So now the situation is Bhagavad Gita is actually up to secondary school, and then Bhagavatam is university. And then if you want postgraduate, then you read Chaitanya Charamita. So these are the three important books. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Bhakti Vinod Thakur says that if all the books in the world were destroyed but the Bhagavatam remains, still humanity can survive and there is no great loss. So in this way, Bhagavatam is a very interesting book that you should try and read. Okay, so 1 minute. So we are level Gita Gyan, accents of Bhagavad Gita. We take the respects of Shri 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 Jagannath Baladev Subhadra, and also beg them mercy that we can actually understand this class today. So here we have Krishna. This is the deity of Krishna in Fiji. It's called Fiji. So who would like to read this? Om Agyana Timirandasya.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
I'll read Om Agyanana Timirandasya Jananaya Salakaya Chakshur Unmilitan Yana Tasmai Sri Guruve Nama Om Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Buddhale Srimadi Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaura Vani Pracharini Niveshesa Sunyavadi Paschaya Desatarini Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Virta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
We take respect from His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, the founder Acharya, and today is the introduction of Bhagavatam. So how did Bhagavatam came about? It came about when Vyasadev had written the Mahabharatam, and Mahabharatam, Vyasadev's guru is Narada Muni. So he had written the Mahabharatam, and the Gita was in the Mahabharatam, and then he was consulting his spiritual master Narada Muni. He said, I have written such a great literature, Mahabharatam, but still I do not have this satisfaction in my heart. So please, Narada Muni, you are my guru. Why am I not happy still? And Narada Muni said, you know, the Vedas are very difficult to understand. The age of Kali is coming. So the age of Kali is coming. People will not be able to understand the Vedas. And it will take them too long to read the Vedas. And there won't be qualified spiritual people to teachers, spiritual teachers to guide them about the Vedas. And people won't have much time. They'll be too busy in working and doing the household activities and all that there's no time to read the Vedas. Vedas you need to read 6 hours a day minimum to come to an understanding. After 10 to 20 years, some understanding. This is quite impossible for the normal person in Kali Yuga. So, and also there is no qualified teachers for the Vedas. And you need to know also Sanskrit to fully understand the Vedas. So it is quite difficult for people. So I want you to compile the Vedas and make a summary of the Vedas. And also the pastimes of the Lord, all I want you to compile into one great book. And the Srimad Bhagavatam was then started. And Vyasadev started writing the Srimad Bhagavatam. And who is writing? Reciting, and who is writing is our Ganesh is writing. So then Vyasadev had Vyasadev's wife was impregnated. She was impregnated, and there was a baby in the wife of Vyasadev. But the baby don't want to come out. 9 months, still the baby don't want to come out. It's still sitting inside, don't want to come out. And then it already many years, still don't want to come out. Then Vyasadev approached Krishna. Krishna, please help. There's a problem. This son of mine inside the womb don't want to come out. Then Krishna came and he talked to the baby. He said, why are you not coming out? And the baby's name is Sukadev Goswami. He said, I don't want to come out because the material world is very, very bad, especially in the age of Kali Yuga. So I don't want. Okay. Then Krishna said, don't worry, I will give you protection. You will not get contaminated by the material world. Come out. So then the baby was born. Immediately the baby was born, it left the house. It was 9 years old, not 9 months, 9 years old, the baby. It left the house immediately, left the father. And then the father is running after the baby. My son, where are you going? The baby was going. And as he was going, they passed by some ladies bathing in the pond. And he passed by and he went. And then after that, behind the father came. When the father came, the ladies were bathing, they covered themselves. And then he was asking them, why is it that my son came, you all didn't cover yourself, but then when I came, you all covered yourself? Because in those times, actually, the ladies have a separate place to bathe. And sometimes they do not have clothes on also. Sometimes they are not very, so anyway, they covered themselves. And they answered, your son is totally pure, but you are not as pure as your son. That is why we feel the difference, so we have to cover ourselves. So anyway, Sukadev Goswami left home. He did not, the father and the mother did not get the privilege of having their child with them. And then he went straight, you can see. He went straight, and there was sages. All sages were there. Thousands of sages were there. They were all coming to hear some great guru speaking. But the guru who was going to speak, when he saw Sukadev Goswami, he stood up, and all the sages stood up, because they could realize that this Sukadev Goswami is a very pure devotee. So as a respect, they all stood up, and they folded their hands, and they asked him, can you please sit down and the Vyasashan and tell us? So the Sukadev Goswami actually heard the Bhagavatam from Vyasadev, and Vyasadev, and then he recited the Srimad Bhagavatam to all the sages. And in the sages, they heard. And in the sages, there was one Sutta Goswami. How did Sukadev Goswami hear about the Bhagavatam? Previously, he was a parrot, and he was near the place in Kailash where Shiva was there, and he was sitting on the tree. And then Shiva said, I want to recite the Srimad Bhagavatam to you, O Parvati. And Parvati said, okay, I'm hearing. So then Shiva started reciting. And then as he was reciting, the wife would say, yes, yes, yes. But there was a parrot in the tree also listening. That was actually Sukadev Goswami listening. And then after a while, the wife fell asleep. And Lord Shiva carried on speaking. And then the parrot imitated the voice of the Parvati and said, yes, yes, yes. In the end, he heard the full Srimad Bhagavatam from Lord Shiva's mouth. And when he came out from the womb, and he said, he recited to these thousands of sages the Srimad Bhagavatam. And among the thousands of sages, there was one very great sage. His name is Sutta Goswami. And Sutta Goswami was the one who narrated the Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj. You all understand so far? First is Lord Shiva, and Sukadev Goswami heard it, and he was a parrot. Then he was born in Vyasadev's wife's womb, and he gave the Srimad Bhagavatam class, the whole Srimad Bhagavatam to these people. Okay, and then there was this Sutta Goswami there. Okay, this is part 1. Okay, here you can see Narada Muni telling Vyasadev, you have to write the Bhagavatam. And Bhagavatam is considered the ripened fruit of the Vedas. You can see a nice mango that's from that. And then here we will come to this story now. Arjuna's grandson after after Yudhishthira Maharaj gave up the throne, there was only Arjuna's grandson to take over the throne. His name is Parikshit Maharaj. Parikshit Maharaj is a very nice king. And unfortunately, as you know, when Krishna left this world to go back to the spiritual world, Kali Yuga started. Kali Yuga started, and the king was a very good king, and he was in Kali Yuga time, and he did many, many good things. One day he went to the forest, many, many years after he was ruling. He went to the forest to get a drink of water. To forest for some work. So then as he was in the forest, he was thirsty. He came to a house where a sadhu was there, a brahmana, and then he was meditating. So the king went there and said, I want water, I'm very thirsty. But the brahmana was meditating, he did not hear. His meditation was very deep. So then what happened is he asked, what is this? I am the king of this land. You must respect me, whatever it is. You are sadhu or brahmana, whatever it is. I am like a guest into your house. And you did not even open your eyes and did not respect me. Then he saw a dead snake nearby the sadhu. He took the dead snake and put around the sadhu's neck. Also, this was also not correct what Parikshit Maharaj did. But sometimes we do something which is a bit silly. So it is, and it is that time that this king also did something which is not so nice. But otherwise, he was a very great king. Because by the modes of material nature, sometimes we will do something which is not so nice. So anyway, the Brahmana's son came back, and then he saw a dead snake around his father's neck. And then he was also, the son also was a very strong Brahmana. And he was a person who is immature. Young people normally are not mature. So he said, I curse the person who put the snake around my father's neck to die in 7 days. And then the Brahmana got up, opened his eyes. Because when he did this curse, there was a big noise, thunder, inauspicious signs everywhere. And then the Brahmana opened his eyes and he asked his son, I heard you something about a curse. And the Brahmana said, yeah, the son said, yes, I cursed the person who put the snake around you. And he said, you did a very wrong thing, my son. The person who put a snake around me, because you know, this sadhu is very high level sadhu, he could see the past, what had happened when he was in meditation. So he said the person who came and did was actually Parikshit Maharaj, and he is a very great king. It is very hard to get a very good leader, a very great king to rule the country. And then you have cursed him to die in 7 days. It will be a big loss to the whole world that a great king like Parikshit Maharaj is going to die. Everyone will start crying. Everyone will be very sad. So then, immediately they went. The father went to the court of Parikshit Maharaj and said, "O king, my son has done a big mistake. He has cursed you to die in 7 days. So I don't know what to do because the curse is very powerful. I don't know how to counteract the curse." And then Raja Parikshit, this is Raja Parikshit. He is actually a king. By that time, anyway, so then Raja Parikshit was there, and the king was what to say. So anyway, he said, it's okay. I don't mind dying in 7 days. At least I know I'm going to die. So right now he consulted the chief, and then they said that actually the highest truth is the Srimad Bhagavatam. So then there is Srimad Bhagavatam going to be narrated by Sutta Goswami. So maybe you should listen to this, because the final ultimate goal of life is to hear the Srimad Bhagavatam and become totally purified. So then he said, okay, I don't want to counteract the curse of the Brahmana. I know in 7 days I'm going to die. It is very fortunate a person is knowing that he is going to die, the time he is going to die, so he can prepare. So he gave up his throne immediately, and then he went to look for this place where the Srimad Bhagavatam is going to be spoken. So meanwhile, there was this great sages, and they were doing a fire sacrifice. They were doing a fire sacrifice because to chant, because the Kali Yuga is started. They want to chant because they know the Kali Yuga is a very bad, among the 4 yugas, Kali Yuga is the worst. So they said that we do a fire sacrifice for for Lord Vishnu, so that we get blessings and we get protection. And they were doing the fire sacrifice. Somehow or another, the fire did not burn properly, and there was smoke. There was no fire but smoke, black smoke, and all the faces of the people there were all in black smoke. And then who should walk in at that time was Sutta Goswami. Sutta Goswami walked in, and he was sitting down. They stood up and told him, can you please sit down and read the Srimad Bhagavatam. So then he recited the Srimad Bhagavatam, and Parikshit Maharaj came and he said, I want to listen to the Srimad Bhagavatam. Can you give me advice? So Sutta Goswami, who had heard, gave him the advice, okay, you sit and we read the Srimad Bhagavatam. So before, and then in the Srimad Bhagavatam there are many stories in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Of course, in 2 days, we can't finish the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is, how many books? 12 cantos and 18 books. 18 books as thick as the Bhagavad Gita, or maybe thicker. So I can only give you an overview of the Bhagavatam, and then hopefully you will be a little bit more desirous to have this desire to read. In the Kali Yuga, there are four legs of a dharma. The 4 legs of dharma. One is religiosity. One is truthfulness. One is purity, and religiosity, truthfulness, purity, and
Cleanliness, Prabhu.
cleanliness. No, not cleanliness. Religiosity, truthfulness. Okay, I'll come to that. Anyway, during the Satyug, what happened is finally the truthfulness goes, purity goes, religiosity goes. Finally, the one leg is what?
Tolerance, is it?
Huh?
Yes.
Prabhu, the 4th leg is truthfulness, Prabhu.
Truthfulness, yeah. Religiosity, truthfulness, purity, and
Tolerance?
huh?
Tolerance.
No. Okay, let me. My wife is checking up, so I will come to that. Anyway, 3 legs were gone. 1 leg left only. So in this way, Kali Yuga is actually, everyone is becoming very corrupted. I'll come back to you when we get the answer, okay? And then the 10 avatars are also spoken to in this Bhagavatam. The first is Matsya avatar, which is tortoise avatar. Matsya is the fish avatar. Second is
Oh, sorry to interrupt. It's austerity, cleanliness, truthfulness, and kindness.
austerity,
Cleanliness, truthfulness, and kindness.
cleanliness, truthfulness, and
Truthfulness, it's a kindness. Kindness, austerity.
kindness. Compassion or kindness lah. Okay, austerity is gone. Cleanliness is gone. Compassion is gone. So the balance is truthfulness, and that is also going to go. So that is the only Kali Yuga was there. Okay, we come back to this story. Kali Yuga was there, and he was banging the last leg of Dharma. This is the bull Dharma. He was banging, and Parikshit Maharaj came, and he told, "Stop it! What are you doing?" He said, "Who are you?" He was a black person. He said, "I am Kali, the incarnation. I mean, I am the Kali. This is my time." He said, "No, I cannot allow you in this my kingdom. My kingdom is all actually everything is very pure, and everybody has to become truthful, have to do austerity, must be clean, and let's say compassion, kindness." Okay, so you are now destroying the last leg of Dharma, so I will kill you. Then the Kali said, "So I am meant to come in this time, so I beg forgiveness from you, and then I have my job to do in this time also." So then Parikshit Maharaj understood, yes, okay, but I cannot allow you in my kingdom. He said, "Then where shall I go? Because the whole world belongs to you." Okay, I will allow you to go to stay in a place where there is no greed, there is no intoxication, and there is no illicit sex, and there is no gambling. These are the 4 principles. There are no meat eating, sorry. So he said, I can, where there is intoxication, where there is illicit sex, where there is gambling, and there is meat eating, you can stay there. Otherwise, don't come in my kingdom. Then Kali said, "But you are a very good king. Nobody is taking intoxication, nobody is doing illicit sex, nobody is gambling, and nobody is eating meat. So how? I need a place to stay." Then Parikshit Maharaj said, "Yes, that's true. I'm such a good king that no one drinks liquor at all, and no one does illicit sex out of marriage, no one gambles, and no one eats meat. Everyone is like very spiritual here. Okay, I will allow you to stay in a place where gold is being kept, because at least where gold is being kept, the greed will come. The greed will come. That is another bad item. So you can stay where the gold is kept, and also you can stay in grains on Ekadasi day, because no one is supposed to take grains on Ekadasi day. So you can stay in the grain. So these 2 places Kali Yuga was given, but nowadays that time was a very difficult. Only goal was there. Everyone else was doing Ekadasi. Everyone else was following the 4 regulative principles. So finally, but now you can see the intoxication is everywhere. Illicit sex is everywhere. Gambling is everywhere. Meat eating is everywhere. So nowadays Kali Yuga, Kali has many places to go. So it is very happy. But at that time, when the Kali Yuga started, there was like no place for him to go. Okay, so then we come to the Das Avatar. You have heard of the Das Avatar, right? But actually, there are many, many more incarnations than the Das Avatar. These are the 10 principles incarnation. First, we have Matsya Avatar, the fish incarnation. When the demons and the devas, when the demons and the devas, they were trying to churn the ocean of milk, Matsya Avatar came. And Korma Avatar came. When the Matsya Avatar came, you saved the Vedas. Korma Avatar came when the demons and the devas are fighting to churn the ocean of milk. And then Lord Varaha came to kill Hiranyaksha, who was trying to drown the earth in the ocean. And then Lord Nrsimha came when Prahlad Maharaj was being harassed. And then Vamana Dev came when during Bali Maharaj time, when the demons had conquered the Deva planets. And so Vamana came, Lord Vishnu as Vamana, to get back the Deva planets for the Devas. Then Parusharam came. At that time, the kings were all very corrupt. He came to kill all the corrupt kings. And then Lord Ram came to kill Ravan. And then Krishna and Balaram came to kill who? Kamsa. And then Buddha came to stop unnecessarily people who were sacrificing animals in the name of the Lord. They were sacrificing animals in the name of the Lord. That means they were killing animals in temples and then all that. That is not allowed. And later on, Kalki will come at the end of Kali Yuga. At the end of Kali Yuga, what happens? The whole world gets destroyed. How many more years is it? Another 427,000 years. Because Kali Yuga is 432,000 years. Krishna came about 5,000 years. So another 427,000. So this is Srimad Bhagavatam. From Bhagavad Gita, you can qualify yourself to start reading Srimad Bhagavatam. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there are many stories of the king Chitraketu, and then how the story is about a king who had no children, and then he was very desirous to have children, and he finally, by the mercy of the sages, 2 sages came to his house, Narada Muni and another sage. They gave him a child. So, but then unfortunately, the child died when he was young, and he was very upset. So he told, then he was crying and crying. He and his wife were crying and crying. You can see. And then what happened? The sages came again. And then they asked, what's the matter? He said, my son is dead. He said, but when we gave you the blessing that you will have a son, we already told you that the son will be the cause of your happiness and misery. He said, this is not fair. You know, you give us a boon, you give us a son, you make us so happy. But how can you take back the item that the person who so what can we do? So in this way, So in this way, they said, okay, we will bring back the child. So they gave life to the child. And then the Chitraketu said, oh, my son, my son. They were so happy. And the son said, who are you? He said, I'm your father. He said, which father am I? Are you? I have many, many fathers, many, many lives. I got many, many fathers. And now I have gone to a new life. And I have a new father. Which one are you? He said, you are the just now one. You just died recently. A few days ago, 1 or 2 days ago. He said, I am already going on my next journey in life. You should not, why you call me back? I do not want to be back in this body with you. So then Chitraketu understood that actually no one belongs to you. It's all Krishna give you the child and Krishna takes away. Everything belongs to Krishna. So the thing is that he learned his lesson that we are not the body but the soul. Anyway, it's a very nice story of Chitraketu. I cannot explain so much here. I can give you the outline. And then there's also the story of Ajamil, who is saved by the holy name. And also there is, I think I have given you the story in Bhagavad Gita time, right? If I'm not wrong. And then also the Gajendra story is there, all from Srimad Bhagavatam. And then also, Ramanu Acharya and Madhva Acharya said the Srimad Bhagavatam is the essence of all Vedic scriptures. So in this way, they also tell their disciples to read the Srimad Bhagavatam. And Vallabha Acharya also says, Saint Tukaram also says the same thing. Is endorsed, and Mahaprabhu is the one that actually he was Krishna, and he came 528 or 29 years ago, and he told about the Srimad Bhagavatam and how to live your life according to the Srimad Bhagavatam. So that is the beauty of Mahaprabhu. He also said, and we did the Chaitanya Charamita. There's a lot of quotes from the Srimad Bhagavatam, from the Bhagavad Gita also, and from the Puranas. Mahaprabhu is teaching us. So here we have the development of the embryo in the stomach of the mother's womb. It's all about time. So major scientific discoveries are now, it also talks about the material world, how the world is created, and about the galaxies and all of that. So anyway, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, that is also there. And you can see here, this is the Indian culture. Our Indian culture is we do temple building, worship the deity. We also have many nice aromatic herbs to do the nice cooking for the pleasure of the Lord, nice tasty cooking. Then we also have nice cultural dance for the pleasure of the Lord. These are different parts of India. You have all that. And you also have nice temples, in of the Lord, and also nice rivers also, which are very holy rivers in India. So it's very cultured place. And Srimad Bhagavatam also writes about chanting of the holy names, about how we can. So then how we can actually go back to the spiritual world. And we also have kids education. When the kids are born, they are normally sent to Gurukuls in those times. You can see there were going to Gurukul. Prahlad Maharaj went to a Gurukul. Of course, in that time, they were preaching about atheistic living. So Prahlad said no. He told what you call those in the class. He said no. Actually, Supreme Lord is there. And then here we have the story of Dhruva Maharaj also. He was looking for a kingdom bigger than his father's. But in the end, he saw the Lord and he said, this is the real self-realization, this is the real wealth. And then you will have in the 10th canto all of Krishna's pastime. This is he killed the ass demon Denasura, and he killed the wind demon, the Trivikram Sura. All the stories are there. And you can also, if you want to learn Sanskrit, they will also have these words there. I think in Bhagavad Gita also. The beneficiaries, so these are Bhagavatam, not so many, only 18 books. And then in the Mayapur, we are having the biggest temple in the biggest ISKCON temple in the world. So it's going to be ready in 2-3 years time. So we'll encourage you to actually go for a visit to the temple. Hopefully the COVID will be over by the time. And then also we have in some places, like in Vrindavan, there is this devotee doctors. They go and they cure the Brijbasis, the devotees and those who are in Vrindavan. They cure them. Sometimes they cannot see. They do surgery free of charge. And they are actually having a hospital in Bombay. The devotees, when you go there, they'll serve you prasad. They treat you, hospital, they treat you, they serve you prasad. And then there's also some nice bhajan they'll play. So it's a very nice place. And there are lots of libraries with lots of books to read. And then also the donation of books are given in villages. You can see Bhagavad Gita, all the students are being given Bhagavad Gita in schools, free of charge. So Bhagavatam is actually Krishna's incarnation. There is none different from Krishna and Bhagavatam. As like no different from Gita and Bhagavatam. So there are total 12 cantos, 18 books in a set. It's a priceless literature. So it costs you about 1,040 including postage, and it can last you a lifetime, and you can pass it on to your children because the books are hardbound, hardcover, hardbound, and they last a very long time, only a 50. So you can see that our total 18, 20, today is 21st. We did 21 weeks, is it? We did Bhagavad Gita. Yeah. Then this is the 22nd. Tomorrow I will give you chapter by chapter, what this chapter is saying, what this chapter is saying, all the 12 cantos, canto by canto. So
Prabhu, tomorrow or next week, Prabhu?
sorry, next week. I'm a bit
Next week.
so sorry because Bhagavatam is like it's like a new thing I'm teaching. You know, like Bhagavad Gita, I'm teaching very regularly. So it's like in the back of my mind. But Bhagavatam is the first time I'm teaching to overview of the Bhagavatam. So Dharma is the bull, is like a father. Earth is like the cow, the mother. What? Religious practice. Okay, 1 minute. Let's see the 4 legs. duration of life, mercy, power of recollection, and moral or religious practice will gradually diminish. Duration of life, mercy, power of recollection, and religious principles. So the 4 legs, according here, are the duration of life. So this is the duration which is the least. Mercy. Mercy also gone. Everyone become very selfish. Power of recollection also going. And now the last leg is standing is religious principles. So now the problem is, if this leg goes also, then the whole world is gone. So that is why the religious practice is still there, but it is becoming less and less. People are giving up religion and becoming atheists. So there is a godless civilization coming on. So it is very important that we practice spiritual life nicely, and also we teach our children nicely, so that at least this Kali Yuga will not be able to influence so much our children and ourselves. So in this way, we have to, these are the 4 legs. It's in Canto 1, chapter 16, verse number 20. So shall we go into that verse? Chapter 16. Chapter 3. For there's a bit time. I hope you don't mind, or shall we not? Or I just read it, okay? Dharma in the form of the bull asks. Dharma in the form of was asked, Madam, are you not hale and hearty? Why are you covered with the shadow of grief? It appears by your face that you have become black. Are you suffering from the internal disease? Or are you thinking of some relative who is away on a distant place? And then answer, the cow is the answer. I have lost 3 legs and now standing. Okay, you all can read this. Number 20. I have lost 3 legs and now standing on one only. Are you lamenting for my state of existence? Or are you in great anxiety because henceforth the unlawful meat eaters will exploit you? Or are you in a sorry plight because the devas are now bereft of their share of sacrifice offering because no sacrifice are being performed? Or are you grieving for living beings because they are suffering due to famine and war? Okay, who would like to read this? The purport. Prabhupada gave. Who hasn't read?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
With the progress of the age of Kali, 4 things particularly, namely the duration of life, mercy, the power of recollection, and moral or religious principle will gradually diminish. Since Dharma or the principles of religion would be lost in the proportion of 3 out of 4, the symbolic bull was standing on one leg only. When 3/4 of the population of the whole world become irreligious, the situation is converted into hell for the animals. In the age of Kali, godless civilization will create so many so-called religious societies in which the personality of Godhead will be directly or indirectly defied. And thus, faithless societies of men will make the world uninhabitable for the saner section of people. They are gradations of human beings in terms of proportionate faith in the supreme personality of Godhead. The first class faithful men are the Vaishnavas and the Brahmanas, then the Sastriyas, then the Vaishyas, then the Sudras, then the Mlechas, the Yavanas, and the last the Kandalas. The degradation of the human instinct begins from the Lechas, and the Kandala state of life is the last word in human degradation. All the above terms mentioned in the Vedic literatures are never meant for any particular community or birth. They are different qualifications of humans, beings in general. There is no question of birthright or community. One can acquire the respective qualifications by one's effort, and thus the son of a Vaishnava can become a Lecha, or the son of Kandala can become more than a Brahmana, all in the terms of their association and intimate relation with the Supreme Lord. Hare Krishna.
Krishna, thank you. So here, the people who are Chandalas are actually those who don't believe in the Vedic religion, and they are of the very low class people. But the Milachas, Yavanas, and Chandalas. So they are for Kshatriyas up to Sudras. They are following the Dharma and they are practicing spiritual life. But the Milachas, the Yavanas, and the Chandalas are lower than that. So these people don't believe in the Vedic philosophy, and they are the ones that actually are giving a lot of problem in this material world right now. They also practice religions which are imperfect and materialistic, and it is also stated here by Prabhupada that even if you are born in a Milacha family, but you take up Krishna consciousness, you can actually be more than a Brahmana. That means you can rise up to the level of a high devotee. So it depends on their association and relation with the Supreme Lord. So it's a very powerful purport by Prabhupada, and he's explaining quite clearly. So we stop here. Then tomorrow we read the second part where we go. Canto 1 writes what is it about. Canto 2, what is it about. Up to 12 cantos. I apologize. My preparedness is not very good today because I haven't read the Bhagavatam for a long time, all the time reading Bhagavad Gita. Any questions?
Prabhu, so next week, Prabhu, you give us the slides, Prabhu, on the Bhagavatam, is it? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, everyone, 4 legs of Dharma. So no question. Thank you all. We will meet you next week again. So no question. Any comments? Anyway, next month I think is Bhadra month. It's a very auspicious month. Anyone like to buy the Bhagavatam set during that month, you will get a lot of mercy. Yeah, I'll explain next week what the mercy you get. Anyway, anything you do spiritual life, you get a lot of mercy. So mercy is flowing. It's only up to you whether you want to take or not. It's just like what you are in the well and you're saying, help, help. And then someone throws you a rope. And the person says, hold on to the rope, I will pull you up. But he said, no, no, help, help. If you don't want to do something by holding on the rope, the person up there, how are you going to bring you out? So same thing also, Krishna is giving us so much scripture and so much mercy. So if we don't want to take the effort and the endeavor, how Krishna going to bring us back to the scripture? You know, so in that way, we also have to do our duty to hold on. The mercy is coming, the rope is coming, but we don't take the mercy. What can Krishna do? He's only trying his best. Okay, thank you very much. Hare Krishna. I hope.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. See you next week, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Good night. Take
Okay,
care.
good night. Hare Krishna, everyone. Good night.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Good night, everyone.